People catch fish also like that, no? On the on the bait there is some hook actually, and then there is some flesh. The fish comes, thinking that it's a food, but as soon as she closes her mouth to take that food, immediately that fisherman, he pulls off the bait, and that bait pulls that the fish off, the fish dies as of now. So we have to understand material energy is not meant for my enjoyment, not meant for my enjoyment actually. They're meant for business enjoyment. And now if we try to enjoy, we make a fool out of ourselves. Like one time, uh, one time what had happened was that, so there was a bullock cart which was passing by, so there were these two ox or the bullocks, they were not towing the cart, like that, and that cart was going on. So in between, actually, a dog came, between the two bulls, So dog came between the two bulls, like then dog started walking, and the dog was walking, and the dog was walking, and he looked back. He saw that the cart is also coming behind, and he was walking further. He looked back. He saw the cart is also coming behind. And then it so happened the bullock stopped, the dog stopped, and then he looked back. He saw the cart also stopped, like that. And then the bullock started walking. He started walking, and he looked back. He saw the cart started walking. So he thought, very nice, this cart is moving because of me. Yeah, see my power, see my carry. I'm a macho man. I'm moving things. And see my dynamism. I'm moving things. So the dog is not doing anything actually. It is all the bullocks who are moving the things. And this fellow is just imagining that he's moving the thing. In the same way, a materialistic person thinks that the whole material world is running. The whole material world is running because of my contribution to this world, and everything is in my hands. And that is a joke. Like one time there was a king, but that is a big joke actually, which a big illusion. One time a king actually, so he had a very strong feeling that actually my kingdom cannot run without me. A very strong feeling he had. He said, no, the whole kingdom is dependent on me. So one of his wise ministers actually gave good advice. He said, don't be so proud and arrogant to king. This in this world, nobody is indispensable. And so it's not that things are running because of you. He said, no, everything is running because of me. If I am not there, everything will collapse. Nothing can happen. Because I am there, we are victorious always. So the minister said, so let us do an experiment. Let's not just base it on hypotheses and assumptions. So he said, okay, experiment. What is the experiment? He said, tonight, midnight, like that. Then you please come along with us. We'll make you incognito. We'll keep you somewhere safe. We'll keep you somewhere safe and protected. But in the eyes of everyone else, it will be incognito, like that. And then they said, but king, the criteria is you have to just follow what we are saying, and only when we tell you to come back, you come back, and we'll give you regular updates what's happening. He said, oh, how will things work out? He said, no problem, things don't work out, you can jump out. So he said, okay, fine. And that day night he disappeared, so they took him to an incognito place, and so on. So the king started staying there in that incognito place. And meantime, actually, everyone in the kingdom, they understood the king is missing. So, and the news was given the king had gone for hunting, he never came back. So everyone understood what it means, and they were very much aggrieved that the king is gone and all. So then they were thinking what to do. And other ministers, everyone, they thought, but we need to have a king. So the king had a 9-year-old son, very small, a small boy. So the minister thought, let us make him now the king. So they coronated that 9-year-old small boy into the king. So when the enemy states heard that, oh, the king is missing, the 9 years become the king, they thought, okay, this is the best time to attack. Ha 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 ha. So they attacked. And this small boy, 9-year-old boy, he was he was so infuriated. Oh, he gave such terrific series of speeches to his army men to gather to actually. So this small boy got so angry. Actually, he was giving fiery speeches. He was laying down the strategy. He said, "We will fight," and then he was leading the fight. And they went. They fought. They became victorious. And the king, who was thinking that nothing can run without him, was dumbfounded, because without his presence, his kingdom expanded. So that was the point, actually. Without his presence, his kingdom expanded. So this is the meaning of the source. Yeah. So we have to understand that Krishna is a proprietor both of matter and spirit. So he is the source of both matter and spirit. When we know that, then we'll understand. So when we know that Krishna is a proprietor of both matter and spirit, then we will understand that real knowledge means to know three things. So real knowledge means MSC. MSC is the real knowledge. What is MSC? So MSC, to know matter, spirit, and the controller of both. That is real knowledge. That is real knowledge. Now the second aspect is connection. Connection. What is the connection? How things are connected. And if you know the proper connection, we can work out things. If you don't know the proper connection, nothing can work out. Is it not? That's the second point, to know the connection. Like say for example, Einstein. So Einstein was very intelligent, but can he manufacture his intelligence on his own? Can he replicate his intelligence? Can he transfer his intelligence? No. So what is the connection? So what is the connection? So he has to understand that his intelligence is not his property, that means, because he cannot replicate it, he cannot transfer it. It's just not. He cannot manufacture. If he feels no, I should have a head which is like double the what I have, there should be Einstein square. He cannot do it like that. Sometimes in in management, this term is used. It is called as half hence logic. So you remember in time management when we discussed about PPC and a product and product capacity. Therefore, we said one should not apply. There we said one should not apply the half hen logic. What is half hen logic? So the person thinks that okay, let me just keep the profit end and let me discard the end which is draining the profit. Like say for example, there is a hen. Now if one does compartmentalization like this, one will see. So it's not difficult to realize that the rear part of the hen is very profitable. It gives eggs. The front part of the hen is not at all profitable. So if he feels that okay, the upper part, the front part of the hen is not profitable, let me chop off that part. Just keep the back part. Is the hen going to give any further eggs? So that's called as half hen logic, actually. Impractical. Now say for example, there is a son of a millionaire. Now, if it's okay, how can the son of a millionaire how can the son of a millionaire become millionaire himself? What he has to do? So if you say that, oh, this is by default will happen, it's very easy, it's very natural. So, but what he has to do? He has to remain a good son. That's all. Now, suppose he rebels against his father, flouts the authority of his father, or he's ostracized, then he may not be given this. Then he will not be given the father's property. The father may deprive him. But if he is obedient, if he's just a good son, then by naturally he'll get everything. So that is the connection. That is the connection. But if I remain subservient, so how things work out, that is the important point. That's connection. Actually. So one time Srila Prabhupada was asked by a reporter. So she said, Swamiji, why is there the suffering in this material world? The material world is coming from Krishna or God, it is absolute. Then why is there suffering in this world? The material world is energy of God, so the material world should be absolute. So Srila Prabhupada said that you see the point is material nature is no doubt resting on God. But God is beautiful. Material nature, the material world is not. There is so much suffering in this material world. Prabhupada gave one line analogy, very beautiful. Prabhupada said, this was a lady reporter who was asking the question. Prabhupada said, you may be beautiful, but your excreta stool is not beautiful. So God is beautiful, but this material world is like the excreta of God. It is a separated energy of God. Therefore, there are problems in this material world. Prabhupada explained that. So one needs to have proper understanding of connection, how things are connected. So if you know the proper connection, then we will not land up into a mistake. We will not land up into a problem. To proper connection. Like sometimes, there is a slim girl, she's walking on the road. Now people may want to show off, people may want to, attract her attention or something, People may want to, or just go on gazing, or whistle or whatever. So people may want to tease, Now just imagine the beautiful, slim girl is walking by on the road, but some feet behind, there is a big Dara Singh kind of fellow. Oh, the bulldozer kind of fellow. Hefty bulldozer kind of fellow. The lungi, like that. And a mustache, this big mustache, like this big mustache. Such a person is walking. So he is walking, all, all feelings, all everything will get evaporated. Everybody will want to run away. Is it? So the proper attitude has come, right? Because of the lungi. Suppose no lungi fellow, then people are, eyeing and all whatever nasty things. So the point is that immediately the attitude changes, understanding that there is a big lungi mustache, behind. Immediately one, remembers, okay, matravat paradareshu, is it not? But this understanding doesn't come without the lungi fellow. So one needs to know the proper connection. Proper connection. That everything is coming from Krishna. Everything is coming from Krishna. I remember one time I was in school. No, this is mid school. That means I was in class 6. And there was I believe it was geography or history. I believe it was history. Yeah. So the mid semester or the mid-term exams, the mid half yearly exams, their answer papers were being shown actually. So I had got some I had got some 87 or so, I think, marks, and 87 or something like that. And it was a bit shocking for me that, okay, how I got 87 actually, because I was expecting more. So So actually, I was going through the paper. Then I saw there are some calculation mistakes. Some place marks are not given and all that. So I went to the teacher, and so so the teacher, she corrected. So I got some 92 or 93. I was getting something like that. Yeah, so 93, 94, something like that. I was getting. So some 93, 94 I was getting, and that was just the end of the period. And then she went off. Another teacher came in. The other teacher started teaching also, the biology teacher. So meantime, actually, I was just sharing the whole thing with with my friend who was sitting next to me, and maybe we smiled or laughed. I mean, that's what. So then I saw that this history teacher, she came back actually in a very furious mood, as if she was very angry. Came back into the room. She asked the biology teacher, please to give her some time. Uh, just give her 2 3 minutes. So she came in. She came right in front of my desk, like that, and you know, she gave me a tight slap. Oh, she gave me a tight slap on the face. My God. No, and a small child only. No, I was not very big, not like that. I was in class six. Hmm? So small only, like that. And then I feel she again saw my paper and all that. She made that 93, 94 into 86. So previously at least it was 87. She took it marks extra off like that. So why? Because she was not happy with my behavior. So she thought, we are ridiculing her. We were not. But I don't know how she saw a smile on our face, and she thought that okay, we were ridiculing her, that or passing comments on her, something like that. So like that, something she saw, she felt, and I think I was smiling because I got 94. So yeah, to the best of my understanding, I remembrance, I think I was smiling because of that, not because of the that that what kind of foolish like attempts the teacher did, not that way, but she took it that way. So the teacher was very angry. So the point is that you see you see, just performance doesn't give you marks. You need to understand the connection. Now the teacher has to be happy also. So if we uh, so the teacher has to be happy also. So because if she wants, she can take away marks here and there. That's what she did. Half mark here, 1 mark here, like that, like that. She made it 86. Nobody can question her. So half mark got at one answer, half mark got at another answer, my 10 marks gone. That way, that's the way she did. She brought it down actually. So we have to see that, Uh, probably I should have, apologized to her very strongly, and maybe fell at her feet or something. So maybe I didn't do that much. So I lost 8 marks. Anyways, the connection has to be seen. No, the connection is. So in material nature, everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. Everything is connected to the Supreme Lord. So if we try to take material nature or material energy at face value, material energy is overwhelming. Material energy can devastate us. When it doesn't devastate us, it intoxicates us. Is it not? In both cases, intoxication, devastation, both are in one sense devastation only. So the Lord explains that this material energy of mine is insurmountable. So Krishna explains that Maya Shakti is as powerful as. So Krishna is saying, Maya Duratya. That my material energy is very powerful. She is Duratyaya. She is insurmountable. So you cannot combat. She is invincible. Duratyaya. She is not going to leave any stone unturned. She is invincible. You cannot combat. She is ruthless in that sense. So then what is the rescue? What is the recluse? What is the solution? That means we'll be simply getting pulverized in this world. In general, from a materialistic consciousness point of view, yes. Because one is exploitative, one goes to exploit the affairs of material energy, then one will get beaten up. Is it not? Like somebody, just say for example, a thief. And if a thief is going into any building a thief goes to, if people are able to spot him out, then he will get big danda by the police. Is it? Oh, no, sorry, why are you beating me? Because you're a thief, you're getting the beating. Or I did not steal today. That doesn't matter. Your reputation of being a thief, wherever you go, you get the beating. Is it not? You're a thief. So the thief, whether he does thievery or not, he'll get beaten because it is understood that his intention to go anywhere is thievery. So in a similar way, when we want to, when the humankind wants to exploit material nature, and that is a thief mentality. Therefore, Maya Shakti beats him up. Oh, you fellow, you want to exploit my energy for yourself. You're not offering it to Krishna. Take it up. So one gets beating. So in general, everyone is going to be pulverized in this world. But Lord Krishna says, Mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. But one who has taken shelter of me, Lord Krishna says, one who has taken shelter of me, such a person, mayam etam tarantite. One who has taken shelter of me, such a person can cross over material energy, can win over material energy. That's the point. Can win over material energy. Why? Because the Lord says the material energy will recede. Just like, when we say, okay, how does this principle work? So Prabhupada gives this beautiful analogy, that suppose, you go to a house and you've gone to the house and you're just opening the door, ringing the bell, and then you see a big hefty dog comes, very ferocious, very wild, is a German Shepherd, or maybe Alsatian, German Shepherd or Bulldog or whatever, he's so ferocious, hefty, so 3 foot, 4 feet height dog, such a heavy. Even if he just jumps on us, maybe half the bones will crack. So such a ferocious looking dog with bloodshot eyes is coming and barking like a, so it's not bar, it is looking like as if a lion is roaring. So now this person is coming to just pounce on the visitor. The visitor is horrified, terrified. But then all of a sudden, the master or the owner of the house, he comes out and he's seeing the scene. And then he says, hey, Tommy, push. So the moment this master, he says, push, like that Tommy was like a lion, the German Shepherd was like a lion, he was roaring, he was ferocious. So that immediately that lion, he becomes a pussy cat, he just sat down, with his two hands like this, wagging his tail, ooh, like that, his tongue coming out, That's what happens to him. This is what Krishna is telling. If you take shelter of me, Maya metam tarantite, you will be able to cross over material energy. Why? Because material energy, if Krishna says no, the material energy subsides, recedes. So that's why we have to understand that everything in this world is connected with Krishna. If you want to exploit it without acknowledging the Lord, without offering it to the Lord, without serving the Lord, then we are going to land into in immense suffering. To win over material energy, impossible. But if you take shelter of Krishna, then Krishna will drive us off. Krishna will drive us forward. That's connection. Yeah. Yeah. So you have heard this analogy that without feeding the belly, the hand cannot be nourished. So the stomach should get the food. The stomach gets the food, all parts of the body get the food. So similarly, without serving God, so the connection of everything, here the connection of the laddu is with everything is that the laddu has to be fed to the belly, then it goes everywhere in the body. Yeah. Yeah. So here it says that because the Lord can put millions of planets effortlessly, therefore everything in this world is connected to God. Yeah. So ultimately, whatever razzle and dazzle we see everywhere is ultimately it is Krishna's energy. Ultimately, it's Krishna's energy. So just as branches flourish with leaves and fruits because of the connection to the tree, so we flourish by our connection to Lord Krishna. We flourish with our connection to Lord Krishna. That's the point, you know. So we have to understand, you know, our connection to Krishna. So just like it is said that, you know, if you want to please a person, so if you can please, if you can make friendship with a child, you know, on the child recommendation, the father will become favorable. Therefore, there is this English proverb which says that love me, love my dog. If you love me, you love my dog also. And how you love my dog, that is an indicator of how much you love me. So that is the amazing, no, so that is the connection actually. The connection to the circuitry, just like you know, we don't connect to the electric powerhouse directly, is it not? We don't take our, you know, a socket and put the live wire, you know, connection to the powerhouse. We don't do like that. We understand the connections, is it not? We understand the connections. So we understand uh, that just like the love me, love my dog, and if we can help and please and serve the devotees of the Lord by their recommendation, Krishna will accept us. By their recommendation, Krishna will accept us. So that is the principle. Love me, love my dog. You know, like that. So if I can help and serve, that is why service attitude. One who has service attitude towards the senior, towards devotees, one who has service attitude, and such a person will gain blessings. And when one gains blessings of the so many devotees, then Krishna will also give his mercy to us. That's the point. That is a connection. Service attitude brings no or attracts the pleasure of Krishna. There is a connection. So one needs to know the proper connection. Prabhupada gives a beautiful example. He says in a cloth shop, you know, in a cloth shop, you know, people have come to purchase various garments and all that clothing. So sometimes ladies go, you know, and they are saying, you know, okay, this shade, that shade, you know, this design, that design. Oh, this no, so this this person who is actually showing, you know, the attendant who is showing actually. So many times for 1.5 hours, he's just showing various things in design and all. And sometimes ladies, what they do, they see hundreds of pieces and then they say, अरे मजा नहीं आया, variety थोड़ा कम था और देखते हैं थोड़ा, है ना, they may walk off, you know. And 1.5 hours, this fellow, now he has to pack every sari, every, suiting, shirting, whatever, he was showing. So all those, the suit cloth, the sari cloth and all that. So he has to pack everything up, put it back in its place and all that. But many times you will see that a sensible attendant, he is very amicably and very in a very friendly manner, he's showing the thing. So even though the customer has not purchased the sari or something like that, but he's still, showing very enthusiastically. One may say, why he is not affected or what? So the point is that, there in the corner of that shop, the owner is sitting like a big lala. He's just sitting at one place. He's sitting and he's watching everyone. He is not himself showing the clothes, but he's watching. How are my people going to behave with the client, the customer? So this attendant, he understands that whether I'm successful in giving the cloth or not, that is not the matrix which will evaluate my performance. But if I can put my heart in the duty in showing the sari, in dealing with the customer very nicely, that will please the owner more. That will please the owner more. So that will please the owner more. So with that we come to the so when the proper source and the proper connection is there, we have in mind that yes, Krishna is the proprietor of everything, and he is the controller of everything, and everything is connected to the Supreme Lord because he is the root, he is the fountain, and everything is connected to the Supreme. When we connect our activities, when we connect the material things to the Supreme Lord, then those activities are going to be sublime and those material things are going to be auspicious. Otherwise, it will lead to a topsy-turvy affair. So when these two are understood, then one can start getting the sense of, okay, how am I supposed to react? What is the purpose? So then one can start saying, yes, the purpose of life is to awaken one's relationship with God. The purpose of life is to develop service attitude, to develop service attitude. Then one can start understanding what is the purpose. What is the purpose? Just like Kunti Devi is begoning Lord Krishna to stay back. Uh, uh, so Lord Krishna, after the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he is going from Hastinapur to Dwarka back. But Mother Kunti is feeling very much aggrieved at heart that because of losing the association of the Lord. So she has come. So she comes to Krishna's chariot and she pleads him to stay back, to stay even further. So in that section, when Kunti Devi is asking the Supreme Lord, requesting Supreme Lord to stay back, Kunti Devi is reciting beautiful prayers, the 26 prayers, very beautiful. And there Kunti Devi is telling that, oh Lord, you are just like an actor. Nato natyam dharo yatha. You are just like an actor. When an actor is doing a play, sometimes the actor is not recognizable. So nato natyam dharo yatha. In that same way, when you actually act in this arena of this material world, so she is telling that, oh Lord, the Lord is just doing an Natanatyam Dharayata. He's like an actor. So no one is able to recognize, but actually the Lord is moving everything. So therefore she is telling that, therefore, oh Lord, everything about you is bewildering and people may get bewildered. And she's saying that, oh Lord, I understand that you are the Saman Bhuvan. You are the Samam Bhunam. And if you are there, everything is auspicious. And Kunti Devi is reciting all the problems and trials and tribulations in her own life. That, okay, what all atrocities the Duryodhana and party they did. It's a big list. They were fed poison cakes, the Lakshagraha, the so all the attributes. Then this the war. She is listing down all the attributes one after another. And then she is telling that these attributes could not incriminate pain. Why? Because Krishna, you were there with us. You were there with us. And then she is making the point that you see, Krishna, this whole world has meaning because you are present. Because of your presence, because of your glance, the whole world is flourishing. If you are not there, this world is zero. This world has no place value actually. The only place value is you yourself. So Krishna, we don't want to be separated from you. We want that. So she's telling, we don't want to be separated from you. And therefore Kunti Devi is telling, oh Lord, just like Ganges flows towards the ocean irresistibly, in that same manner, let my heart, my attraction, my consciousness, my attraction, my love flow towards your lotus feet. I just want to serve you, Krishna. I just want to serve you. So that is the point, that the purpose of life, should be to serve Krishna. Simply fluffing around in material energy is not going to help us. Mother Teresa says, now she used to say a statement. She said, whenever I look at Americans, I see there is so much poverty in their eyes. Yeah, that is poverty. So a person who is not having values, who is not selfless, who is not God-centered, such a person is extremely poor. Is extremely unfortunate. We see the time passes by, whole life passes by, a person keeps grabbing this, grabbing that, but ultimately nothing is there in his hands. When he dies, he has to die empty-handed. That's all. So what is the use of this grab game? Grab game actually. So one has to understand that the game is not grab. No. The game is to offer everything to Krishna. That should be the in focus purpose of all our activities, to please Krishna. That should be the purpose of all our activities, to please Krishna. So therefore, one has to understand that Lord Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. So Krishna is like an ocean of enjoyment. And when we connect to the ocean of enjoyment, then we will be flooded with enjoyment. Is it not? That is the idea. So the ground of sense gratification, the ground of animalism, the ground of exploitation is like a desert. That ground doesn't even have a drop of water. Or it may have a drop of water at max. But it is desert, hot, scorchy desert, wherein we are scorched more, much more than the few drops what we get here and there. But when we connect to Krishna, it's like an ocean of water. Krishna is like an ocean of water. So when one connects to Krishna, one's heart will be profusely satisfied. And therefore, the perfection of any activity is to offer it to Krishna. Then that activity gives the best possible result because it is offered to Krishna. So the perfection of any activity is to offer it to Krishna. Because if it is offered to Krishna, Krishna is an ocean. By that, by that circuitry of offering, actually, by that connection, oceanic mercy current is going, blessings current is going to flow into our hearts, into our lives. So therefore, the notion of Krishna being the enjoyer is not that we are supposed to be slaves and just meant to and only Krishna goes on enjoying. No, Krishna is the enjoyer means that when anything is offered to Krishna, then Krishna's enjoyment swells beyond its boundaries, and those waves hit our hearts and they flood our hearts. That's what it means. That is exactly what it means. And Krishna is the controller of everything. So if we want to get out of this material energy, Krishna can arrange the pathway. But we have to seriously show to Krishna that we really want it. Then Krishna will help us. If we want to to walk towards spiritual path, Krishna gives directions. He's the controller. So he'll give us directions. Krishna will give us directions. But the purpose should be to offer service to Krishna. In fact, Srila Rupa Goswami gives the definition of bhakti. What is called as bhakti? He says when service is offered, such a service is offered which is ahituki. It doesn't have any cause that okay, because of this, because I was so depressed, there was nothing else to do, therefore I am offering worship so that I can get some money or whatever. No. The devotional service bhakti means ahituki. It is without a cause. It is without a cause. And second is apratihata. It does not stop. It does not depend on prerequisites. It does not depend on any kind of fruitive mentality or greedy mentality, business mentality. It is a selfless service, pure service. So such is the definition of it. And so therefore, understanding Krishna is the source behind everything because he's the controller proprietor. One should start relating everything with respect to the Supreme Lord. And when this is done, and when we offer everything to Krishna, then we achieve the perfection of our existence in love, in mercy, in blessings. Hare Krishna. So we will stop here. Do you have any questions? Okay, so we have so we have an interesting offer for you. Some of our devotees might have told you also, so today actually our devotees I believe this is the 125th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada this year. So devotees want to do something beautiful as an offering to Prabhupada. The devotees organized a massive, official web seminar. Actually, the web seminar, which is going to start at 12 o'clock today. 12 o'clock today. This seminar will be taken by one of our devotees, a very famous motivational speaker, Dr. Vivek Bindra, on the Bhagavad Gita and business yoga. And he will speak about Prabhupada, he will speak about Gita. So, and this seminar will be, it's an official attempt to make it, it's an official attempt to make it, so this seminar is going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records for maximum live attendance. So they expected around 25 lakh people are going to attend the seminar. So we would request actually you can join this seminar today. That is the reason we took the class a bit early so that you have some time to stretch and relax a bit, and then 12 o'clock you can join us. So I believe Harshit Kaur just sent you the YouTube link. This is going to be the seminar is on Bhagavad Gita and business yoga, I believe. Bhagavad Gita and business yoga. So it will be very interesting to hear from our Dr. Vivek Bindra. So he's one of our very nice devotees and a very famous motivational speaker, business coach. So he's going to speak actually. So you can enjoy the webinar today, like that. So you can enjoy the webinar today. Yeah. So we request you to join in that. Yeah. Yeah. So uh, so you'll have a good yeah. So yeah, so you can release the webinar today. That'll be very nice. Good seminar. Okay, so we thank you very much. We will stop here and we'll meet again next week. And I hope you'll enjoy the webinar actually. It'll, yeah, it'll be highly inspiring. So jump in and see for yourself. Hare Krishna.